The vast darkness of space lit up suddenly. A bright blue light tore through the emptiness, growing bigger and brighter. In a flash, a huge ship appeared. This was the human battleship called Thunderbolt. It was bigger than anything the aliens had ever seen before. The Thunderbolt moved slowly towards a small green planet. This planet was where the Galactic Council met. The Council was made up of many different alien races. They worked together to keep peace in the galaxy. But they had never seen humans before. Inside the Thunderbolt, Captain Jae-sun Kim stood on the bridge. He was a tall man with short black hair and kind eyes. But right now, his face was serious. He knew this moment was very important for all humans. "Status report," Captain Kim said in a calm voice. A young woman with long hair tied back in a neat bun turned to him. This was Lieutenant Hannah Lee, the ship's main talker with aliens. "Captain, we've arrived at the coordinates," she said. "The Galactic Council planet is right in front of us." Captain Kim nodded. He looked out the big window at the front of the ship. The green planet looked small and peaceful, but he knew looks could be tricky. "Any messages from the planet?" he asked. Another crew member, a man with glasses and a worried look, spoke up. "No, sir. It's all quiet. Maybe too quiet." Captain Kim thought for a moment. "They're probably surprised to see us. Let's wait and see what they do." On the planet below, everything was far from quiet. Aliens of all shapes and sizes were running around in a panic. Some had tentacles, others had wings. Some were tall and skinny, others short and round. But they all shared one thing. They were scared of the big human ship. In a tall building made of shiny blue metal, the Galactic Council was meeting. The room was round, with seats for all the different alien leaders. At the center stood Chairman Zorn, a tall alien with purple skin and 4 arms. "Order, order," Zorn shouted, trying to calm everyone down. His voice was high and squeaky, which didn't help much. Slowly, the noise in the room died down. All eyes turned to Zorn. "We have an unexpected visitor," Zorn said, pointing to a big screen on the wall. It showed a picture of the Thunderbolt. "This ship appeared out of nowhere. We don't know who they are or what they want." A small green alien with big eyes stood up. "It must be the humans," he said in a scared voice. "We've heard stories about them. They're dangerous." More noise filled the room. Aliens started arguing with each other. Some wanted to attack the ship. Others wanted to hide. In the middle of all this, a human woman stood up. This was Counselor Unipark, Earth's helper on the Galactic Council. She was the only human on the planet until now. "Please, everyone, calm down," she said in a clear, strong voice. "There's no need to be afraid. I'm sure the humans come in peace." But no one was listening to her. The aliens were too scared. Back on the Thunderbolt, Captain Kim was getting ready. He put on his best uniform, smooth and black with shiny buttons. He checked himself in a mirror, making sure he looked good. "Lieutenant Lee," he called, "get the shuttle ready. We're going down to the planet." Hannah Lee looked surprised. "Sir, are you sure that's safe?" Captain Kim smiled. "Sometimes the best way to show we come in peace is to meet face to face." As they got ready to leave, Engineer Sung Min Kang ran up to them. He was out of breath and looked worried. "Captain, I found something strange in our ship's systems," he said between deep breaths. Captain Kim frowned. "What is it?" "I'm not sure, but it looks like someone might have messed with our defenses," Kang said. This was bad news. Captain Kim thought for a moment. Then he made a decision. "We can't delay. We need to meet the council," he said. "Kang, keep looking into this. Lee, you're coming with me. Let's go show these aliens what humans are really like." As they walked to the shuttle, Captain Kim felt both excited and nervous. This was a big moment for all humans. He hoped it would go well, but he also knew that in space, anything could happen. The small shuttle left the Thunderbolt, flying down towards the green planet. The first meeting between humans and the Galactic Council was about to begin. The Galactic Council room was noisy. Aliens of all kinds were talking at once. Some were yelling, some were whispering, but all were scared. The big screen on the wall showed the human ship getting closer. Chairman Zorn, the purple alien with 4 arms, tried to make everyone quiet. He waved all his arms and shouted, "Silence. We must think clearly." Slowly, the room got quieter. All eyes turned to Zorn. "We don't know why the humans are here," Zorn said, "but we must be ready for anything." A tall, thin alien with blue skin stood up. This was Counselor Tawan Choy. He didn't like humans very much. "We should attack first," Choy said. "The humans are dangerous. We've all heard the stories." Many aliens nodded. They had heard scary stories about humans, how they fought a lot, how they were good at making weapons. But then Counselor Unipark stood up again. She was the only human in the room, and she knew she had to speak. "Please, listen to me," she said. Her voice was calm but strong. "I know humans. We don't want to fight. We want to be friends." Some aliens laughed. Others looked angry. But a few seemed interested in what Yuna was saying. "How can we trust you?" asked a small furry alien. "You're one of them." Yuna took a deep breath. "Yes, I am human, but I'm also part of this council. I've lived here for years. You know me. Have I ever lied to you?" The room got quiet. Many aliens looked at each other. They knew Yuna was right. She had always been honest. Just then, a loud beep came from the big screen. Everyone looked up. There was a message from the human ship. They want to talk," said a scared alien who was working the controls. Chairman Zorn looked worried. He used all 4 hands to smooth his purple hair. "What should we do?" he asked. Yuma stepped forward. "Let me talk to them," she said. "I can help." Zorn thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "Okay," he said, "but be careful." Yuna walked to the screen. She pressed a button, and suddenly, she was looking at Captain Jae-sun Kim. "Hello, Captain," Yuna said in English. "I'm Counselor Unipark. Welcome to the Galactic Council." Captain Kim looked surprised to see another human, but he smiled. "Thank you, Counselor," he said. "We come in peace. We'd like to meet with the Council." Yuna turned to look at the other aliens. They all looked scared. She knew she had to help them understand. "The humans want to meet us," she said in the Council language. "They say they come in peace." "It could be a trick," shouted Counselor Choy. "We should give them a chance," said a kind-looking alien with big eyes. The room filled with noise again as everyone argued. Meanwhile, on the human ship Thunderbolt, Captain Kim and Lieutenant Hannah Lee were getting ready to leave. They were in a small ship called a Shuttle. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked Hannah. She looked worried. Captain Kim nodded. "We need to show them we're not afraid," he said. "It's the best way to start talking." As they got ready to fly to the planet, Engineer Sung-Min Kang ran into the room. "Captain," he said, out of breath, "I found something strange in our computer." Captain Kim frowned. "What is it?" "I think someone put a virus in our system," Kang said. "It might hurt our shields." This was bad news. Without shields, the ship could be in danger. Captain Kim had to think fast. "Can you fix it?" he asked. Kang nodded. "I think so, but it will take time." Captain Kim thought for a moment. Then he made a decision. "Keep working on it," he said. "We'll go meet the Council, but be ready for anything." As the shuttle left the Thunderbolt, Captain Kim felt worried. He knew meeting the aliens was important, but now he had to worry about his ship too. Back in the Council room, the arguments were getting worse. Some aliens wanted to welcome the humans. Others wanted to attack them. Yuna tried to calm everyone down. "Please," she said, "let's give them a chance." Just then, another alien ran into the room. "The human shuttle has entered our atmosphere. he shouted. The room went quiet. Everyone looked scared. Chairman Zorn stood up. "Well," he said in a shaky voice, "I guess we're about to meet the humans." As the human shuttle got closer, everyone in the council room held their breath. The first real meeting between humans and the Galactic Council was about to begin. No one knew what would happen next. The human shuttle landed softly on the green grass outside the Galactic Council building. The air was thick with tension. Hundreds of aliens stood watching, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Captain Jae-sun Kim took a deep breath. He looked at Lieutenant Hannah Lee. "Ready?" he asked. Hannah nodded, her face serious. "Ready, sir." The shuttle door opened with a hiss. Captain Kim stepped out first, blinking in the bright sunlight. Hannah followed close behind. The aliens gasped. Some moved back, others leaned forward to get a better look. Humans were taller than most of them, and looked very different. Chairman Zorn and Councillor Una Park stood at the front of the crowd. Zorn's purple skin looked pale, and all four of his hands were shaking a little. "Welcome to our planet," Zorn said in a squeaky voice. He was trying to sound brave. Captain Kim smiled and bowed slightly. "Thank you for having us," he said. His voice was deep and calm. "We come in peace and friendship." Una stepped forward. She was smiling, happy to see other humans. "Welcome, Captain," she said. "I'm Councillor Park. I represent Earth on the Galactic Council." Captain Kim looked surprised. "Another human. We didn't know." "It's a long story," Una said with a laugh. "I'll tell you later." Chairman Zorn cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should go inside," he said, looking around nervously. "We have much to discuss." They all walked into the big blue building. The council room was huge, with seats for hundreds of aliens. Captain Kim and Hannah looked around in wonder. "Please, sit," Zorn said, pointing to two empty chairs. As they sat down, Councillor Choy stood up. His blue skin was dark with anger. "Why are you here?" he demanded. "What do you want from us?" Captain Kim stayed calm. "We're here to join the galactic community," he said. "Earth is ready to be part of something bigger." Many aliens started talking at once. Some looked excited, others looked scared. "Quiet, please," Zorn shouted, waving his arms. When the room was silent again, he turned to Captain Kim. "But why did you bring a warship?" he asked. Captain Kim smiled. "The Thunderbolt isn't just a warship," he said. "It's also a ship of peace. It can help with science, exploration, and protection." Hannah stepped forward. "We want to share our knowledge," she said, "and learn from you too." Some of the aliens began to look less scared. A few even smiled. But Councillor Choy wasn't happy. "How do we know you're telling the truth?" he asked. "Humans are known for being tricky." Captain Kim frowned. "We've always been honest," he said. "We want to be friends, not enemies." Just then, Captain Kim's communicator beeped. He looked down at it, his face turning serious. "Excuse me," he said, standing up. "I need to take this." He walked to a corner of the room. Hannah followed him. "What is it?" Hannah whispered. "It's Kang," Captain Kim said quietly. "He found more problems with our ship's computer. Someone definitely put a virus in our system." Hannah's eyes went wide. "What do we do?" Captain Kim thought for a moment. "We need to finish this meeting," he said, "but be ready for anything." They walked back to their seats. The aliens were all watching them closely. "Is everything okay?" Yuma asked, looking worried. Captain Kim nodded and smiled. "Everything's fine," he said. But inside, he was very worried. Chairman Zorn stood up. "Well," he said, "let's continue our discussion. We have many questions for you, Captain." For the next hour, the aliens asked many questions. They wanted to know about Earth, about humans, about the big ship. Captain Kim and Hannah answered as best they could. Slowly, many of the aliens started to relax. They could see that the humans were friendly and smart. Even Councillor Choy stopped frowning so much. But Captain Kim couldn't relax. He kept thinking about the problem on his ship. Who put the virus in their computer? And why? As the meeting went on, Captain Kim realized something important. The humans weren't the only ones with secrets. The Galactic Council was hiding something too. But what? The diplomatic dance had begun. Humans and aliens were taking their first steps together. But danger was lurking in the shadows. The real test was yet to come. As the meeting with the Galactic Council continued, Counselor Taiwan Choy watched the humans closely. He didn't trust them. While everyone else was starting to relax, Choy was making plans. When there was a break in the meeting, Choy slipped out of the room. He went to a quiet corner and took out a small device. It looked like a phone, but it was much more advanced. "The humans are here," Choy whispered into the device. "We need to act fast." A voice came back, low and scratchy. "Good work, Choy. Keep watching them. We'll take care of the rest." Choy smiled. His real friends would make sure the humans didn't join the council. He put the device away and went back to the meeting room. Meanwhile, on the human battleship Thunderbolt, engineer Sun Min Kang was working hard. He had found the virus in the ship's computer, but fixing it was difficult. Come on, Kang said to himself. He typed quickly on his keyboard. Sweat dripped down his face. Suddenly, a red light started flashing. Kang's eyes went wide. "Oh no," he said. "This is bad." He pressed a button to call Captain Kim. "Captain," he said, his voice shaking. "We have a big problem." Back in the council room, Captain Kim felt his communicator vibrate. He looked at Hannah and nodded. They both stood up. "Excuse us for a moment," Captain Kim said to the council. "We need to check on our ship." As they left the room, Counselor Yuna Park watched them. She could tell something was wrong. She decided to follow them. In a quiet hallway, Captain Kim answered Kang's call. "What's the problem?" he asked. "The virus is worse than we thought," Kang said. "It's not just our defenses. It's trying to take control of the whole ship." Captain Kim's face went pale. "Can you stop it?" he asked. "I'm trying," Kang said, "but I need more time." Just then, Yuna walked up to them. "Is everything okay?" she asked. Captain Kim and Hannah looked at each other. They didn't know if they could trust Yuna. "We're having some technical problems," Hannah said carefully. Yuna looked worried. "Maybe I can help," she said. "I know a lot about galactic technology." Captain Kim thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "Okay," he said. "But this stays between us." He told Yuna about the virus. Her eyes went wide. "This is serious," she said. "A virus like that, it's not easy to make. Someone with a lot of power must be behind this." "But who?" Hannah asked. "And why?" Yuna shook her head. "I don't know," she said, "but I have a bad feeling about this." Meanwhile, Counselor Choy was watching them from around a corner. He smiled to himself. Everything was going according to plan. Back in the council room, the other aliens were getting restless. "Where are the humans?" one of them asked. Chairman Zorn looked nervous. "I'm sure they'll be back soon," he said, but he wasn't sure at all. In the hallway, Captain Kim made a decision. "We need to go back to the ship," he said. "Kang needs our help." "But what about the council?" Hannah asked. "We can't just leave." "I'll stay," Yuna said. "I'll tell them you had an emergency." "It's not a lie." Captain Kim nodded. "Thank you," he said. "We'll be back as soon as we can." As Captain Kim and Hannah hurried to their shuttle, Choy watched them go. He took out his device again. "They're leaving," he whispered. "It's time." The voice came back. "Good. We're ready. The humans won't know what hit them." On the Thunderbolt, Kang was still fighting the virus. Suddenly, all the lights on the ship turned red. The loud alarm started blaring. "No, no, no," Kang shouted. He typed faster, but it was too late. The virus had taken control. As Captain Kim and Hannah flew back to the Thunderbolt, they saw the ship's lights turn red. "What's happening?" Hannah asked. her voice full of fear. Captain Kim's face was grim. "I don't know," he said, "but I have a feeling our real test is just beginning." The shuttle flew towards the Thunderbolt, which now looked dark and dangerous. The biggest challenge for the humans was about to start, and somewhere in the shadows, their true enemy was waiting. The small shuttle carrying Captain Jae-sun Kim and Lieutenant Hannah Lee raced towards the Thunderbolt. As they got closer, they could see that something was very wrong. The huge battleship was dark, with only red emergency lights blinking. "This is bad," Captain Kim said, his voice tight with worry. "Very bad." Hannah tried to contact the ship. "Thunderbolt, this is Lieutenant Lee. Please respond." But there was only silence. Suddenly, the shuttle's controls started to move on their own. "Captain," Hannah shouted, "we're losing control." The shuttle was being pulled towards the Thunderbolt by an invisible force. Captain Kim and Hannah could do nothing but watch as they got closer and closer to the giant ship. Back on the planet, Counselor Una Park was trying to explain to the Galactic Council why the humans had left so suddenly. But it wasn't easy. "They had an emergency on their ship," Una said. "They'll be back soon." Counselor Choy stood up, his blue face dark with anger. "This proves they can't be trusted." The Galactic Council room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about what to do. Should they destroy the human ship to save themselves? Or should they try to help the humans? Counselor Una Park broke the silence. "Wait," she said. "The humans are smart. They might find a way to stop this. We should give them a chance." Chairman Zorn looked worried. "But what if they can't?" he asked. "We could all die." Just then, Counselor Choi stood up. He looked angry. "We must attack now," he shouted. "The humans are too dangerous." But something about the way Choi was acting made Una suspicious. She watched him closely. Meanwhile, on the Thunderbolt, Captain Jae-sun Kim was thinking hard. There had to be a way to stop the virus without destroying the ship. Suddenly, he had an idea. "Kang," he said, "what if we overload the system?" Engineer Sung-min Kang looked confused. "But sir, that could damage the ship badly," he said. Captain Kim nodded. "I know, but it might stop the virus. It's worth a try." Lieutenant Hannah Lee understood the plan. "We could use the emergency power systems," she said. "Pump too much power into the main computer. It might shut everything down." Kang's eyes lit up. "That could work," he said. He started typing fast on his computer. Back on the planet, Yuna was watching Counselor Choi. She saw him take out a small device and whisper into it. Suddenly, she realized what was happening. "Stop," Yuna shouted. Everyone looked at her. "Counselor Choi is behind this. He's working with someone to make the humans look bad." Choi's face turned dark blue with anger. "That's a lie," he yelled, but the device fell out of his hand. Chairman Zorn picked up the device. "What is this?" he asked. His voice was hard. Before Choi could answer, the device made a noise. A scratchy voice came out of it. "Choi, why haven't the humans attacked yet? Our virus should have worked." The room went very quiet. Then everyone started shouting at once. Alien guards came and took Choi away. On the Thunderbolt, Captain Kim, Hannah, and Kang were working fast. They had to overload the system before the ship's weapon fired. "Ready?" Captain Kim asked. Kang and Hannah nodded. "Do it," the captain said. Kang pressed a button. Suddenly, all the lights on the ship got very bright. There was a loud humming noise. "It's working," Hannah said. "The virus is slowing down." But then, sparks started flying from the computers. Smoke filled the room. "We have to keep going," Captain Kim shouted. "Just a little more." The ship shook. It felt like it might break apart. But they didn't stop. Finally, there was a loud boom. All the lights went out. Everything was quiet. For a moment, no one moved. Then, slowly, the emergency lights came on. Kang checked his computer. "The virus is gone," he said. He sounded tired but happy. "We did it." Captain Kim smiled. "Good work, team," he said. "Now let's see if we can talk to the planet." On the planet, everyone was watching the sky. They saw the thunderbolt shake and then go dark. "What happened?" Chairman Zorn asked. He sounded scared. Just then, a message came through. It was Captain Kim's voice. "Galactic Council," he said. "This is the Thunderbolt. We've stopped the virus. We're no longer a threat." A cheer went up in the council room. Aliens hugged each other. Some were crying with relief. Yuma smiled. She knew the humans would find a way. Chairman Zorn turned to her. "Counselor Park," he said, "please invite the humans back. We have much to discuss." As the council got ready to meet the humans again, Yuna thought about what had happened. The humans had shown they were smart and brave. They were willing to risk everything to save others. Maybe, she thought, this was the start of something new, something good. Humans and aliens working together, learning from each other. The Thunderbolt slowly started moving again. It was damaged, but it was coming back to the planet. A new chapter in galactic history was about to begin. The damaged Thunderbolt slowly landed on the green grass outside the Galactic Council building. This time, instead of fear, there was excitement in the air. Aliens of all shapes and sizes gathered to watch. Captain Jae-sun Kim, Lieutenant Hannah Lee, and Engineer Sung-min Kang walked out of the ship. They looked tired but happy. The crowd of aliens cheered. Counselor Yuna Park ran up to them. "You did it," she said, smiling. "You saved us all." Captain Kim nodded. "We're just glad we could help," he said. "But our ship needs a lot of repairs." Chairman Zorn came forward. All four of his arms were open wide. "Brave humans," he said, "please come inside. We have much to talk about." Inside the council room, things looked very different from before. The aliens weren't scared anymore. They looked at the humans with respect and interest. Captain Kim told everyone what had happened on the ship. He explained how they stopped the virus by overloading the system. The aliens listened closely, amazed by the humans' quick thinking. When he finished, Chairman Zorn stood up. "Humans," he said, his voice serious, "you have shown great courage and wisdom. We owe you our thanks." Then Zorn's voice got even more serious. "We must also apologize," he said. "One of our own, Counselor Choy, tried to cause trouble between us. He will be punished for his actions." Captain Kim nodded. "We understand," he said. "Every group has some bad people, but we shouldn't let that stop us from being friends." The aliens in the room nodded and smiled. They liked what Captain Kim said. Hannah stepped forward. "If it's okay," she said, "we'd like to learn more about you, and we can teach you about humans too." Many aliens got excited at this idea. They started talking all at once about what they could share. Kang raised his hand. He said shyly, "I'd love to learn about your technology. Maybe we could work together to make new things." This made the alien scientists in the room very happy. They crowded around Kang, asking him questions about human technology. As everyone talked, Yuna watched with a big smile. This was what she had always hoped for. Humans and aliens working together. Suddenly, Chairman Zorn called for quiet. Everyone stopped talking and looked at him. "Humans," Zorn said, "you have proven yourselves to be brave, smart, and kind. We would be honored if Earth would join the Galactic Council as a full member." The room went quiet. This was a big deal. Earth would be part of something much bigger than just one planet. Captain Kim looked at Hannah and Kang. They both nodded. Then he turned to Yuna. She was smiling and had tears in her eyes. "Chairman Zorn, members of the Galactic Council," Captain Kim said, standing tall, "on behalf of Earth, we accept your offer. We're excited to join the galactic community." The room erupted in cheers. Aliens were clapping, some with 2 hands, some with many more. It was a historic moment. As things calmed down, everyone started making plans. There was so much to do. "We'll need to set up communication systems," Hannah said, "and trade agreements," added an alien with tentacles. "Don't forget cultural exchanges," said another alien, this one covered in fur. Yuna looked at Captain Kim. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" she asked. Captain Kim nodded. "Yes," he said. "We have a lot to learn and a lot to share. It won't always be easy, but I think it will be worth it." As the humans and aliens talked and planned, a new era of galactic cooperation was beginning. The stars, once distant and mysterious, now seemed full of possibilities. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and the universe would never be the same again. Captain Kim looked out the window at the Thunderbolt. The ship that had caused so much fear at first had now become a symbol of friendship between worlds. He smiled to himself. Their mission had been a success, in ways they never could have imagined. The future looked bright, filled with new friends, new knowledge, and new adventures among the stars.